Now let's look at what the US is up to in Africa. It is militarizing the Horn of Africa, building 5 new bases in Somalia, ostensibly to combat terror. Somalia has been fighting a terrorist insurgency. They're fighting against Al-Shabaab, a group with links to Al-Qaeda. Al-Shabaab has been trying to take over Somalia since the year 2006. They even captured the capital, Mogadishu, in the late 2000s. But in the past few years, they have been driven back. In 2011, they were ousted from Mogadishu. And the Somali forces have been narrowing in on them ever since, successfully pushing them back into their strongholds. A large part of the credit for this goes to an elite Somali commando unit. They're called the Danab Brigade. Danab means lightning, so the Lightening Brigade. These special forces were created in 2014. They were trained and equipped by the US. American troops do not officially fight on the ground in Somalia, but they work with this Lightening Brigade, coordinating strikes and operations to root out Al-Shabaab. And this Lightening Brigade has proved effective, so the US is doubling down on the pet project. The Danab forces are headquartered here, at an airfield near the capital, Mogadishu. They also have bases in 2 other locations, and now they will get 5 more camps. A ceremony took place in Mogadishu today. Top US and Somali officials were in attendance, including Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud and Molly Fee, the US Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs. Somalia's defense minister and the acting US ambassador to Somalia signed a deal. The US is building 5 new bases in Somalia, and in these strategic areas. Look at the Al-Shabaab's areas of control again. It's clear that this is an effort to encircle the group. The Lightening Brigade will then move in on the remaining strongholds. Just the Lightening Brigade, though. These 5 new bases are only for them, not for the rest of the Somali army. And that may worry Somalia's neighbors, especially Ethiopia and Somaliland. Let's zoom out a bit and look at the map again. Somalia's biggest neighbor is Ethiopia to the west. Somalia also has a breakaway territory called Somaliland. Somaliland broke away and became de facto independent in 1991. But it is an unrecognized state. In fact, the largest unrecognized state in the world. And that could change soon because of Ethiopia. Ethiopia recently signed a deal with Somaliland on the 1st of January this year. Somaliland will grant Ethiopia port access. It will also lease a section of its coast to Ethiopia's navy. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed desperately wants this. He's been drumming up tensions in the region because he wants access to the sea. Hence the deal with Somaliland. And what has he promised them? The details have not been made public, but reports say he will officially recognize the breakaway state as an independent country. Ethiopia will recognize Somaliland as an independent country, and that is a red line for Mogadishu. The port deal has caused an uproar in Somalia. There have been regular protests since the deal was made public. And now we have this push for militarization. Officially, Somalia's Lightening Brigade was formed to combat the Al-Shabaab. I'm sorry. But these elite troops may turn their guns west as well. There are already reports of this happening. Last year, a battalion commander died in disputed territory near a town contested by both Somalia and Somaliland. He was a member of the Lightening Brigade. He was trained by American forces, and he died fighting against Somaliland. Somalia says he retired a few years before this incident. But it shows that the Lightening Brigade can be a threat to all of Somalia's enemies, not just Al-Shabaab. And they're getting 5 new bases, which means there will be a lot more US-trained Somali special forces. Good news for Somalia and for the fight against terrorism. But the situation in the Horn of Africa is delicate, and this risks further aggravating tensions. We'll see how it plays out in the months ahead.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.